welcome to your monthly one-shot number 24. I am Gabe here, joined by Jocelyn, the one and only Canadian Supernova. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, but I can tell you're struggling saying my real name.
It's hard, man. It's been 24 months. It's hard. It's hard. You got to get out of it, you know? It's like a you got to get out of the trend, you know? Well, today we are going to be reviewing a classic, something we haven't done. We don't really review a lot of Valiant books, so we thought, why not start with something that's been ranked.
This is our first Valiant book, isn't it?
It is, because I'm a big fan of Exo Man of War, and we haven't even done that. You know,
we'll have to do that eventually.
Absolutely, I think that's that's cool. I love Exo Man of War. So what we're gonna be doing today is looking at Bloodshot number 1 from 1993, February actually of 1993. So it actually came out the month we're recording this, so it's actually very timely.
Very topical.
Very, very topical. The cover here is very reflective, and if you have the physical version, buddy, what is on the back of this is just blew my mind. Fucking Spider-Man is all over the back of this, and the X-Men. It is advertising the new video games for Spider-Man and the X-Men, and if you want to hear about some of our favorite video games, go listen to the issue that we just recorded. So look at that.
Good segue.
Cross promotion. Corporate synergy.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is hyping up the Game Gear.
Remember that?
Remember the Game Gear? And hey, if you're not into video games, you can watch the brand new movie coming out, Aladdin. Coming to theaters. God. So it's funny seeing Spider-Man and then a Disney advertisement in a Valiant book, knowing in like 20 years they're bought and owned by Disney.
I was going to say, knowing what we know now.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to look back on. Oh, and then in the back issue, there's Star Wars.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, no way, dude. That's amazing. What a time. 1993, what a time.
That's incredible.
Well, we are looking at Bloodshot number 1. This issue is something that actually I like this issue. I'm going to go out and say it before we even get into it. I actually enjoyed this issue. I thought this was a lot of fun.
I have to agree with you.
Bloodshot is a character that you may have seen in other media. He did have a movie with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
But there was also a mini movie with Jason David Frank.
Yes, there was. Like a fan film, I think.
Yes, which is actually has a lot of well reception. People were saying they just wish it had a bigger budget, which is fair. Yeah,
that's fair.
But it was made by a bunch of people that love the Valiant book. So, in like the year like 20, like I think it was like 15 or 16 or something too. So it's not even like an old thing. It's pretty. God, I would say pretty recent, but it's almost 10 years old now. Shit. Okay.
What was it called? It was Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. Is that what?
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, we are here in London, bruv.
With my bottle of water.
My bottle of water here in the airport. But this is the second time we've read a review of a book, and it takes place in an airport where people are just fighting. The 90s were a different time.
Oh yeah, Generation X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Well, we're here in Heathrow. I think it's Heathrow, London. I think so. At the international airport in 1992, we found out there's some guys looking really suspicious. There's a guy in a newspaper looking calm. There's a guy sitting on a suitcase with a suitcase in his hand. There's a woman walking by with a hat and a guy smoking a cigarette inside. So, very of the time.
You can still do that back then.
We're told here these are
not so much now.
These are INLA guys, INLA guys. And we see there's maybe about 4 of them, as the person's telling us here. MI5. I'm guessing those are the authorities. I don't know who. I still, at the end of this, didn't know who MI5 was supposed to be. Was that like the criminals?
I think it's like British intelligence. I'm not sure.
Okay. That would make sense.
I think so, yeah.
Well, we see these people walk by, and the woman that walks by hands off a suitcase, and they even say it's like a blatant handoff here, like a old bad, spy movie. They're walking by, handing it off, and they keep walking, thinking they're slick. And right as that happens, the cops come out, and this girl starts blasting, bro. She shoots this guy.
They just started blasting.
She shoots this guy in the chest. He's bleeding out. And then she gets shot through the head so fast, it shoots the other bad guy in the head. And when I saw that picture, I was like, oh shit, they're just like showing gore in this book. Like, especially when Marvel was trying to like be very sanitized, you know, because of the comics code and was like not showing violence. This book is just showing people getting holes shot through their head. And it's very evident in the next page where we get a splash page of a guy's brains literally being blown out in very, very visual fashion by Bloodshot here. This is...
How sick is that?
Dude,
that's so awesome.
I was like, holy fuck, I didn't know Valiant was doing it like this. Holy shit. So, we see Bloodshot here just blowing a hole through this guy's head. He's shooting these guys, and we find out that's who's talking to us already, is Bloodshot in his speech bubble speaking to us. Find out that these terrorists are trying to take over here, trying to get a hold of whatever it is kind of information they have. And as he drops to the ground, he gets shot right in the arm by one of these British guys. And he even says, hey, if I didn't move, he could have shot me in the heart. And that's not good, because I don't know what's going to happen if I get shot in the heart. And he goes, he's fast, but he's not as fast as I am. And I was like, that's cool. And like, he shoots this guy in the head over the lifeless bodies of these these criminals.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this is nuts. And then like, dude, like the images of this woman dead like are very like violent.
Very graphic.
They're
very graphic.
She has like just beady eyes, just open, just no emotion. She looks pale, like hair covering her face, blood spewing out of her forehead. And he goes down, he hits the ground, grabs the suitcase, and he shoots another guy in the chest. As he's leaving, he pistol whips the cop in the face.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
He runs out, busts through the glass, and he bounces off of a car. And he's talking about how his adrenaline is pumping right now. Like, no one can reach him right now, because he's just like a unit. And he jumps off of this car, and the cop runs out, and dude, his eye is fucked up. And this is Officer Sinclair we're meeting, and his partner from the UK runs up, and he's like, I don't know where he's gone. He could be halfway to Manchester by now. And he's like, oh, fuck it, you're probably right. It's not worth it chasing him. He's probably gone, so whatever. We got to send men out there and try to find him. And as they're saying that, you see one of the buses go by, and he is just laid out on the bus on top. He very smoothly got on top of this bus, and he's looking at his arm, and he starts talking about how he works. So he has these things called nanites, where what it does, it's basically a healing factor, where what it does is it patches up, like his blood will patch up wounds and push out anything bad. So in this case, he has a bullet in his arm. It's forming new skin and muscles, healing him around that, so it pushes it out. Kind of like what Wolverine's healing factor does when we see him in the movies when he gets shot, you know, and the bullets drop out. That's what's happening here with Bloodshot. Which in 92, Wolverine was already really established by then, so never mind. I was like, I wonder how similar. Yeah.
No, extremely established, yeah.
Also, I love the hair on Bloodshot in this. We gotta talk about this hair. It's amazing.
Like a flat top, kind of?
It's a flat top with a lightning bolt shaved through both sides.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's cool. You know what? I rock with it. So he's on this this bus. He's like, listen, I don't know where this thing is going. I just know it's taking me away from the airport, because I need to get the hell up out of here. So now we cut to Osaka, Japan, 2 hours later. And there's this old dude talking to these two giant men. And what he's talking about is this thing called Project Rising Spirit, where it's this Western lab that was working and testing on these people. And what it was doing was basically making super soldiers. And as he's talking to these two giant men, we find out that because of their condition of being like injected with all this stuff, they're kind of working on borrowed time. He even says here, he goes, like the candle that burns twice as bright and only half as long, your remaining days number less than my own, and I am old. I like that he threw that in. And I'm old, and you're fucked. I'm going to outlive you. But he says there is someone though that got away, and we're looking at him on the video, and these guys are like, who's this child with this? First of all, with this naked man on a table, who's this child? And we see this kid. He's like messing with the fucking the water drip.
Oh no! Don't mess with my drip. Come on.
And
now.
then he's just like bopping the doctor on the forehead, like fuck off me.
Yeah.
When the doctor understandably is like, don't touch that. You're fucking with this. And as the doctor's trying to stop this kid, the guy who is on the table wakes up, and we see the red circle on his chest. And you're like, oh, this is Bloodshot. This is Bloodshot being tested on. And he protects the child from the doctor. And that's when we see that this guy has been trying to hunt down this guy. This is one of his lost subjects over the past decades. And he's trying to find this man. And they haven't seen a lot about him. Except for recently. They're seeing a lot of stuff out of London about him. And we're seeing images of him blowing a hole through this guy's chest. I also like the touch here of his arm down, meaning this is after he got shot in the arm, which no one cares about, but I think that's a cool little artistic touch. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
It's a small detail that I like. There's stuff like that in comics I think is cool. Especially because they made a big deal about his arm earlier, so it's cool that they noticed that. But he's saying, hey, we need to get our hands back on this guy. And listen, I don't care how you do it. I don't care what condition he's in, but you need to bring him back to me. And we look at these two big guys. They got like big red eyes, and they're pale almost. They kind of look like Bloodshot, just on steroids.
I was gonna say it's implied that they're probably a part of the same project as
Yes.
Bloodshot was.
Yep, exactly. And he even says he's like you, but better. You know?
Yeah.
Which I watched. I looked at this and I said, "Oh, that's in the movie."
You son of a bitch.
Just instead of two big, they're sending soldiers out to capture him and bring him back to the doctor. Like that's in the movie. So they do reference the book, kinda. The next part kind of threw me off because we're seeing Bloodshot head back to his flat, as they say in London.
As they say in London.
In his little apartment there, he has the suitcase, and he's starting to take all his stuff off, and he sees a shadow in the kitchen, and he whips out a sword, and this dude's like, what the fuck, with a beer in his hand. And we found this is Malcolm, and he's coming to pick up something from Bloodshot. And he's like, you weren't supposed to be here for an hour. And he's like, listen, I saw everything going on TV, and I got a little worried. And he's like, well, thanks for worrying about me. You know? Like, what are you doing
Appreciate
here?
it, big dog.
Yeah. And he's like, well, honestly, I wasn't worried about you. I was worried about my cut and getting my money, you know? So they open up the suitcase, and there's a bunch of money in there. And he pulls something out. And this made me laugh. He goes, yeah, I was more interested in the information changing hands than money. I didn't realize terrorism had gone so high-tech. To which Malcolm replies with, what is that? A CD-ROM? Can you read that thing? And I was like, bro. Oh, boy. 92 is a different time.
His dick is going to be blown off in 20 years.
Dude, when he sees a fucking flash drive, he's going to lose his goddamn mind.
I'll be like, no fucking way.
When he hears the word 1 megabyte, his brain won't be able to fucking compute that. But we've
like,
already...
How much storage? What?
But we've learned from the, his nanites, they're like a blood, something in his blood that he can control. He can also communicate with technology. And what he does is he puts the CD-ROM into a DVD player, which, as anyone would say, what are you doing, kid? That's not a movie. They even acknowledge that. He says, hey, it's close enough to a computer. So he puts, which, wrong, but he puts it in.
Very, very wrong.
He puts it into the DVD player, and he fucking touches it like this. He puts his two little grubby mitts on it, and he looks at it, and he starts reading information off of the CD-ROM. And then he just stops, and he's like, all right, gotta go. I'm going to bed. I got a lot of shit to do in the next 48 hours. It's very exact. Take your 20% of the money and get out. And he kicks him out. And he's like, oh, it's okay. I'll just finish my beer. And he's like, nope, get the fuck out. Don't be in my apartment any longer than you need to be. Thank you. I'm already pissed at you.
He's like, bro, stop loitering. Get the fuck out of here, man.
This next scene's badass. So we cut to the 2 days later, and we're at the Thames River, and we see a meet going down here, and we see it's 2 Irishmen and a guy from the Mafia that we're seeing here, and one of them is named Kennelly. That's the guy from the Mafia, and that is who Bloodshot wants. He wants Kennelly. He found out Kennelly is associated with this. That's what he read in that CD-ROM when he fucking touched it with his fingertips. That's his guy. So he's looking at this go down, and as any good old-fashioned superhero would do, he jumps down and cuts a guy's head off.
Well, yeah, why not, right?
Because why not? I mean, the guy had a gun,
Yeah.
so he cut his head off. Duh. What
I
else
think
would you
that's
do?
fair. Yeah.
So then, after cutting the guy's head off, he then shoots a guy in the chest, cuts off part of Kennelly's fingers. Actually, take it back. He cuts off all of Kennelly's fingers on one hand, puts a gun to his head, and he says, "Listen, I'll cut every other goddamn finger off if you don't start talking to me about Project Rising Spirit. What do you know about me?" So this is when we find out he's trying to find out stuff about himself. He knows kind of what his body can do, but he doesn't know everything about himself, which I always
Right.
like that about a comic book, you know? You find out with the hero. So as he says that, he gets punched right in the face by a guy. He says, "Why don't you pick on someone a little closer to your speed?" To which I then get an advertisement. I then get a big poster,
Oh.
and then I get another advertisement for the Terminator on LJN, and then I get an advertisement for Wizard Magazine.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? It goes, "The Guide to Wizard covers it all, especially Valiant. Catch it in December." And then we find out the person that punched Bloodshot right in the face here is one of the 2 massive men that we saw in Tokyo, Japan. And they're looking to take him in here. And he's basically like, maybe these guys know more about me than the Kennelly guy, so maybe I should ask them and, see what's going on here. So as he says that, he just starts blasting. He shoots one guy in the wrist. He fucking Wonder Woman's it off of his wrist. And then
Right.
Bloodshot pulls a knife out on the other one. So he has a knife in one hand, shooting guns in the other. So this guy's cool. And right as he does that, they get taken off of the dock of this meetup that was happening, and they're sent into a boat in the water. And they come crashing in, and he starts clicking it here in his head, and he's like, "These dudes are fast. Like, faster than me. Like, they may have my number here." And as he's trying to get off of this boat, because it's such a tiny thing to fight on, they grab him by the wrist, drag him back into the water, and they kind of have him beat here. We're actually seeing in the first issue our hero being taken down and almost killed,
Right.
actually.
Yeah.
He's not
Which,
unstoppable.
I think that's the best scene in the whole issue, actually. It looks great.
Yeah. They got him underwater. They're mushing his face. They wrap a cord around his neck, and they kind of go behind like one of the pillars holding up the dock, and they tie his throat around it as one of them gets another chain and chains his body. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, they're doing a number on him here. And even
I was
he's
gonna
like,
say, if you're reading this at the time when it came out, you're like, I guess they're only getting 1 issue then.
yeah, this is a good one shot. You know what I mean?
That's a
From while
good
it
one
lasted.
shot. Whatever.
And then they're choking him here, and he's like struggling to breathe because not only are they choking his throat, they're tying his stomach up with a chain and choking him there too. You know?
Yeah.
But
You're
then
giving
he
them
starts.
the work.
But then he does something I didn't even expect to happen. I thought was really cool, where he can manipulate the nanites in his blood to heal himself. But he's like, wait a minute, these guys might be like me. They seem to be like me. They're strong like me. They're fast like me. What if I can reach out and manipulate their blood in their
Yeah.
body? And literally, he pumps their blood so fast that their brains explode and blood comes pouring out of their nose, and he kills them. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, I love that concept. I
I've
thought
only
it was really, really sick.
I've honestly only seen that in, this is going to sound crazy, in The Boys.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's
Yep.
literally her power, is manipulating people's blood. I was like, oh shit, that's basically what he's doing here. That is not in the movie, because that would have ended the movie 5 minutes in. If that was made a common knowledge.
And also probably would have taken most of the budget.
Yeah, literally. But what I do like here is that even after winning and getting the upper hand, he's like, I need to get out. Like, I'm going to die. My lungs are going to explode. Like, I'm messed up right now. I gotta go. So as soon as he gets to the top, we see none other than one of the police officers who is actually the same police officer we saw from the beginning of the book. Let me get his name here again. That was Detective Sinclair. Rolling up. He looks badass, man. He's got the mustache. He's got the duster with the leather gloves, the OJ gloves. He's got the fucking pipe, lighting up his pipe with a cool lighter.
That's the difference.
And this guy is so nonchalant. He's just like, I'm not surprised you're the one that came up alive from that. You guys have any relation with those guys? And he's like, he answers this question. He's like, I guess not. He goes, and he's basically just like questioning Bloodshot here, and Bloodshot does not want to talk with him. And he's like, listen, we might be after the same person. You want Kennelly and the Mafia. I want them too. Why are you going after them? Do you want revenge for someone? Did they hurt someone in your life? And he's like, yeah, kind of. They took something away from me. They took someone away from me. And it's actually very sad. He goes, me. So something happened where they took what he feels is himself. They took it away from him. And we cut to Little Italy, New York. Maron. It's like fucking Sopranos here now. We got all the Mafia. I love Mafia in books. We don't get that enough. Is Mafia in books. And when you see it's Mr. Carbone.
Mafia.
That's how Mafia works.
That's how Mafia works, you know what I mean?
We got Joe. We got Mr. Carbone. And we got all this paperwork here. And they go, Mr. Carbone, we're sorry to interrupt you, but we have some news. And they put a picture down and they say, listen, the photo on the left was taken during the Scotto murder trial. And he goes, and the next one is a picture, by the way, the best security camera image ever, even for 1992.
Yeah,
Go, this is from security camera a week ago, and it's Angelo Mortali. And we find out that is Bloodshot's name. And he goes, but I thought he was dead. And they go, well, I guess we were wrong. So there is a lot of history here between Bloodshot and the Mafia. Angelo and the Mafia. He's related to them somehow. Whether it's family, whether they tried to kill him, they try to off him, have him swim with the fishes, no matter what it was. Who knows? You'll have to find out in issue 2 of Bloodshot, because that's how it ends.
Good
This
ending.
book was another home run for us for a number 1 issue.
Yeah, I would say so. I really enjoyed it.
It did a lot. It
I
introduced the
would
character.
I would rank it on par with like Savage Dragon number 1.
I absolutely
on
would.
how much
because
I enjoyed it.
they both did something that I like out of comics. They introduced the character. They humanized the character. They show the character in distress, which is good. You want to cheer for them. They get the upper hand, but then they end with something that makes you want to keep reading. And that's big for number 1. Something that makes you want to
what else? You know what else that they did is that they explained who everyone was, but they didn't explain.
Yeah, exactly.
Which in the first issue, a lot of people over-explain things.
Yeah, and we have an idea of who Bloodshot is. He is this guy that has these superhuman abilities. He can heal himself, but even he doesn't know to what extent. Because he even says, I know I could take that bullet, but I don't know what I could do taking a point-blank shot to the heart. So even he is like not really in the know of what's going on with his body. And we're finding out with him, just like Savage Dragon. Another book where a character shows up, doesn't know his backstory, and we're kind of figuring it out with him, you know? So they're actually very similar books, almost. Now that I'm like saying all this, they're pretty similar.
In a way, yeah. In a way.
Yeah. Savage Dragon is more of like the cartoony, hero, villain, like all these super villains are killing everybody. Meanwhile, Bloodshot's very grounded. There's a mafia that's killing everyone, a mafia family, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. Meanwhile, there's a supervillain that worked on me. He's connected to me somehow. I don't even know he's after me, but he wants to kill me. So, I think Bloodshot number 1 gets a thumbs up.
Yeah, it gets a thumbs up for me as well.
From the long boxers here. Highly recommend. We'll add that to our W win column for number 1s. Definitely check it out. Don't watch the movie. I read this and I was like, what the fuck? Like, because I already watched the movie and was like, I didn't like that. And then I was like, I kind of want to read what the books are about. And I read issue 1. I'm like, this is just, even issue 1, it's just way better.
Way better, yeah.
I will say, I've always known Bloodshot with having the red eyes. So I don't know if you noticed it, though. When he's killing everyone in the airport, he has the red eyes. But when he goes to his house, he has normal eyes.
I did notice that, and I thought, is that like a inconsistency, like by the artist? Like, what's going on?
Or is it like a reason? Because the whole time in the house, he has regular eyes, but the minute he's fighting, he has red eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is it like a thing where he's like in like a battle mode almost? You know?
Is that a power thing? Exactly.
Yeah, where he's fighting and he sees red almost, and his eyes are red. You know? So I don't know. Because
I guess we'll have to read issue 2.
I guess we'll have to, because even the bad guys got red eyes. So I guess it's something with that was worked on with him. So, but yes, that was Bloodshot #1. That issue was a big W. I am looking forward next time, Ajax, to next month's issue.
Okay.
Because on our next month's one-shot, we are reviewing something we have talked about on this channel quite a bit. Something that I own merchandise of. Something that has been reprinted multiple times. But we're specifically looking at one reprint of it because they print it a certain way. We are going to be reviewing, by Image Comics, Body Bags #1.
Oh.
We are finally jumping into Body Bags. And I say the Image one. You can read the other ones. I say the Image one only because Body Bags #1 for Image was issues 1 and 2 combined into one.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
right.
it's technically a 4-issue miniseries, but the issues were each short. So Image put out 1 and 2, which is just issues 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You know what I mean? So we're going to review Body Bags #1, which is technically issues 1 and 2. So if it's easier to find as issues 1 and 2, you can just do that also. I had the trade paperback of it, so I'm going to be using that for my reading. But yes, so technically issues 1 and 2 of Body Bags, they really flow into one another. When I was like quickly looking it over. I see why Image just combined it. It's just, I don't know why they were 2 separate issues.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer type of deal.
Like, issue 1 ends, and then issue 2 starts right from, like, the same dial. Like, I don't know why it was playing. It just literally flows together. So, yeah, we're going to be finally looking at Body Bags after talking about it for almost 2 years. It's about time.
I was going to say, we've been talking about that one for a while.
Yes. So, we're going to be doing that. And I will say, Ajax, for the first time, we will be finishing the series, too, because in a couple months after that, we will be doing Body Bags #2. So we are going to be doing the whole run of Body Bags.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yes.
I like that, though.
So when you read issues 1 and 2, don't go to 3 and 4.
Okay.
I have to try not to do that, too. Because I'm reading the trade paperback version.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll tell me,
We've
like,
both
hey,
done
we're
that.
gonna, yeah, we're gonna read like issue 1 of a miniseries, and I'm like, oh. You know
Well,
what
I thought, why not finally complete a run? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we're gonna do #1, and then #2 is in the pipeline very soon. We are gonna have a little breather in between for a special edition episode, so for something else. But yeah, look forward to that. On the next issue, we're gonna be creating unfortunate superheroes with a randomizer, and creating our own Marvel Collected Edition. So look out for that in March, my birthday month. And we will see you guys next time. For Jocelyn and Gabe, we're gonna sign off and see you next month.